The topic is, I would say, rather cute because we are experiencing some IT and technology problems today. But in today's talk, we'll be looking at different issues, which I suppose any kind of ELT teacher may face, and then we'll see the ways how to tackle these problems. I'll share my experience of dealing with technology. Of course, I'm into technology, and we'll be talking about different, say, definitions regarding technology, right? So first of all, as a brief, I would say, acquaintance with you, please raise your hands who use technology in the classroom. Okay, good. Do you, those who use technology every single class? No, not every single class, I see. Right. Okay, good. And if you choose a word to identify yourself as say, technology teacher, would you be a digital immigrant or digital native? Immigrant, okay. So we'll see, this term actually deals with this concept, right? Digital immigrants and digital natives. I particularly like one more word which we can apply to teachers, and this is a digital toddler, like this, right? Yeah, when we're first making our first steps in using technology, and we to some extent are immigrants. Yeah, for sure we're not digital natives. So on the screen you see some typical features which identify both, I would say, participants in technological process. Yes, you see mostly if we see the differences which distinguish us from digital natives. So we're not so keen on multitasking because it needs some effort and it may be not so habitual to us, right? Moreover, being absolutely social, as many teens and even kids do. So every single picture they make or take, they place it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, right? But most teachers are slightly different, I would say. Yeah, they are not so socially active, but it's changing. And I hope this Trendy English conference is changing the way you deal with even with technology and social media. Right, and there are some other differences. I'm not going to focus on them right now. So if you are keen on this theory, so this theory is refers to digital immigrants or digital natives. So what I'm going to cover in today's talk. First of all, the first issue is just the role of technology in English language teaching, quite briefly, but I'll provide some theoretical issues, and then we'll turn to some practical issues, right? As my talk is called 5 blunders, right, or 5 fatal mistakes teachers make when they deal with technology, of course we'll have a look at these 5. But you understand there are much more, right, than 5, okay? And there is one more issue which I particularly like, I called it fail better, right? So it's about the way we deal with technology. Well, first of all, nice question, I suppose, because when we deal with technology, we're supposed to face a challenge, right? So if you look at these 2 questions which you have on the slide, are you jump off the cliff kind of teacher? Are you? No, absolutely not. Or do you eagerly take the plunge into the world of apps? Do you? Okay, not eagerly. Right. Can you tell me which apps, if any, you currently use? Quizlet? Memorize? Kahoot. Okay, Duolingo, right. These are the most popular, right. Of course, the list is much wider and longer. Well, again, we are supposed to ask these questions because starting to use technology in the classroom, in my opinion, involves some sort of courage, first of all, yeah, courage, and we will have to overcome some obstacles, overcome fears, and be a little bit more technically, I would say, aware of what's going on, right? Well, I I particularly like this quotation, yeah? So technology can't replace a teacher, we can say, but in the hand of an experienced teacher, the role of technology can be transformational. So in this regard, it's up to us to decide if we use it quite often and the way we use it. So, on the screen you can see a picture of a 21st century teacher who is supposed to be quite experienced in terms of technologies. So in red you have some traditional teaching skills. In blue these are skills which are supposed to be 21st century, or if we speak about technology teachers, such as being a geek, and again being socially active. Do you believe that most teachers are like this, of this type? Yeah. I believe most teachers are of this type, who mostly are emotionally attached, yeah, to students, who are more likely to encourage them in traditional ways, and who give a lot of praise, a lot of love to students. And sometimes it's not so easy to do it by using technology, like it or not. So the main issue here is how to switch from this human approach mode into more technological mode, which is a big challenge to my mind. So, I'd like to give a little bit background information about using technology in the classroom. So there is so-called TPAC model, right? So this concept was developed about 15-20 years ago, and actually it refers to different sorts of knowledge or competence. So the first is content knowledge, which refers to English language as the system, right? In order to teach, we need to understand how to do it. This is the second one, pedagogical knowledge, right? How to use methodology in the classroom, which approach to use. And the next one is technical knowledge, or technology knowledge. So, but what we face in a traditional classroom, they are not separated. So they are I would say, influential to each other. So that's why this model, which is technology and pedagogy and some other stuff, is pretty important to understand and to use in the classroom. Well, again, if you need more information about this TPAC model, so we need just to Google it, and there are lots and lots of research on this issue, this area. So, and now about these 5 common mistakes, or 5 most critical mistakes, and the mistakes teachers make. Again, looking back at your own experience, yes. Can you name just a few mistakes which you personally made, which prevented you from providing an efficient technology lesson? Okay, go ahead.
Sometimes you use technology to impress students, not because you really need it. You can do it without technology at the same time, but you do it because you want to.
Okay, flashy technology effect. Okay, I'm using technology, I'm up to date, I'm innovative, but what for? Yeah, just for the sake of technology. Or sometimes teachers use it as a toy, right? Okay. Any other experiences? No. No mistakes, everything went smoothly.
I think sometimes overload them. Sometimes I think overloading my students all these online exercises, and more stress on this online exercise rather than sticking part or offline lesson, kind of this.
Okay.
That's my view.
I see. So, not finding the right balance between offline and online components, right? Or blended learning.
Blended learning.
Okay.
One more point.
Maybe I'll keep the mic, right?
One more point could be that nowadays a lot of students not use computers anymore. I mean, that everything goes mobile, and that's why, when you give them a task, you should know, or you should expect that they will be using their mobile. That's why, for example, when you make some spreadsheets and you expect them to open them on their computer, but they do not do that. They use their mobile and it just simply does not open on their mobile. So that's why you should be aware that they will be using their mobile, for your technology. You should know it. It could be a very big mistake and a fatal one.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay. Let's have a look at the mistakes I'm going to introduce to you. So the first mistake, placing technology first, we have been speaking about it a little bit. Placing technology first, pedagogy second. Yes. So what it means? Yes, there are lots of apps which may simplify, for instance, vocabulary memorization or using some speaking activities. For instance, I'll be mentioning some of the apps and you can just make notes. For instance, to develop speaking skills, you may use Vocaro, which is Vocaro, V-O-C-A-R-O-O, Vocaro, right? Which is a nice tool which you can use. It's an online application. You don't need to upload it or download it, let's say, right? But what it does, it helps students to record their speech, right? So you assign a task, and as a homework, for instance, picture description, picture comparison, whatever. And then using this application, Vocaro, right? They just click the button, record. It automatically records their speech, and then they can send it to a teacher or on social network. Yeah, it's as simple as it is. Yeah. Vocaro, yes.
Just spell it.
Yeah, V-O-C-A-R-O-O. Vocaro, right? You can Google it. Right?
.com or .org?
You can Google it.
All right.
Yeah. Right. So. Again, yeah, I know that it exists. How can I implement it in my lesson? Yeah, shall I use it for homework assignment? Shall I use it in class? In class, it's not so efficient because we can speak in class, right? So the point I'm trying to make is when we're supposed to use technology, we have to think of some issues, right? First of all, so are my students learning by using this technology? Is it real learning, not just entertainment? Or just something trendy, right? Is the first question we need to ask. Second question, can I be more effective by using technology? Yes. So, can using this particular application improve student skill compared with face-to-face, for instance, interaction? Well, right. And can I be more efficient, which are quite close in meaning, right? So again, getting back to the first mistake, when we are planning a technology lesson or using technology in the classroom, we have to put pedagogy first, technology second, right? That's important, any kind. And we clearly understand that technology is used for the sake of achieving lesson aims, right? We have lesson aims, and then we use technology just as a tool. Technology is just a tool. Okay, so the second issue, which is also quite contemporary, I would say, many teachers believe that if students are brilliant at using iPads, iPods, applications, they would be as well brilliant at using them for learning purposes, which is not true. Which is not true. So assuming that students know how to use technology for learning, is not correct in many cases. Right? So they know how to Google, they know how to play games online, but when it comes to learning, they may be as well digitally toddlers as we are. Right? In this regard, we need to understand, and there's a nice quotation regarding the point I'm making, just because kids know how to use Twitter, Snapchat, and so any other kind of social media, doesn't mean they know how to use technology to enhance their learning. And it's our primary role, I believe, to make this transition, to help them take advantage of using technology for learning purposes. And again, we need to teach them how to do it, to train, right? Okay. Agree? Right. Okay, good. So, Again, I suppose you recognize this person, Bill Gates, who even him expressed the same idea that technology is just a tool, right? And still, this is the teacher who is in the center of teaching, right, and learning process. Okay. The next one. The third mistake teachers tend to make is using technology that you don't have a basic understanding of, right? Okay, you've heard something, okay, today you've heard about Kahoot, right? Or Quizlet, or whatever, Vector, some other applications. Or maybe, for example, nice application, again, just to give you more ideas about how to use them. Nice application which is called telescopic text. It's an application which is telescopic text, right? It works like this. It starts as a very simple sentence. I made tea. But you can click on every single word, and every single word turns into another phrase. So it's like a sentence extension application, right? So, and eventually you may finish with a text 1 page long, yes. Telescopic text, yes. What you can see if you Google it, it's just this particular sentence referring to making tea. But if you want to make your own, you need to, yourself or by means of students, you need to make this text first. And then in class they may click on every single word, and then the text will develop or extend. Again, we need to understand why should we use it, right? What's the advantage of using this technology? Well, but if we have very little or vague idea of the application we are using, so I wouldn't recommend to use it, right? And in this regard, sometimes we can rely on our students who may be more advanced and who may be helping us to deal with this technology. But again, the point I'm trying to make, we need to be fully prepared for technology class, right? And preparation means not only technical preparation, but methodological as well, right? So I don't think that we'll find ourselves in this position, right? Well, but sometimes it happens, right? It happens. Right. Especially, I suppose it's fair enough about some teachers who work for state schools and they are forced to use MESH. You know, if I'm talking about MESH, Moscow Electronic School, right? So this is a big project, big money project, Moscow government project, and students are expected to be a part of it. But some of them, for some of them, it's not just a challenge; it's a big shocking to students. Okay. So, or something like that. Can you see what she's doing? Yeah. Technology at work. So the next point, having no backup plan, right? Which is also quite critical, I believe. So it may refer to different issues, starting with technical side of the lesson, technical side. First of all, we can't rely on technology. Yeah, we're experiencing today. Yeah, still experiencing. Well, but it's not just the technology. We should understand what I'm planning to do if something goes wrong. So what is my plan B? So in this regard, what I would recommend, for instance, it was my own experience. We were providing trendy English talks technology. It was late in March, and I was supposed to give my talk, and before I start the presentation, I realized that the presentation is not going to work because it was made on Macintosh or Apple computer, but we had another computer there, and all the pictures were lost. So in this regard, I didn't feel comfortable enough, and I had to make something very quickly.
Island of Gods.
Very quickly.
A green paradise.
Right.
Or A paradise lost. Bali, island of garbage. In Bali, we generate 680 cubic meters of plastic garbage a day. That's about a 14-story building. And when it comes to plastic bags, less than 5% gets recycled. We know that changes the image you may have of our island. It changed ours too when we learned about it. When we learned that almost all plastic bags in Bali ends up in our drains, and then in our rivers, and then in our ocean. And those that don't even make it to the ocean, they're either burned or littered. So we decided to do something about it. And we've been working for almost 3 years now to try to say no to plastic bags on our home island. And we've had some significant successes. We started researching, and let's just say the more we learned, there was nothing good about plastic bags. And you know what? We don't even need them. We were really inspired by the efforts to say no to plastic bags in many other places. From Hawaii to Rwanda, and to several cities like Oakland and Dublin. And so the idea turned into the launch of Bye Plastic Bags.
Okay.
The volunteer team includes children from all over the island, from both international and local schools. And together with them, we started a multi-layered approach based on an on- and offline signature petition, educational and inspirational presentations at schools. We raise general awareness at markets, festivals, beach cleanups. And last but not least, we distribute alternative bags. Bags like net bags, recycled newspaper bags, or 100% organic material bags, all made by local initiatives on the island. It's not always easy. Sometimes it does get a little bit hard to walk your talk. But last year, we did exactly that. We went to India to give a talk, and our parents took us to visit the former private house of Mahatma Gandhi. We learned about the power of hunger strikes.
Okay, can you hear me better? Okay, I will be trying to make my speech. Right.
We both made a decision and said, we're going on hunger strike.
Speaking about this contingency of plan B,
a lot of convincing, not only to our parents,
I will be giving some information about listening skills development right now. Okay? So the next nice application is called
not eating from sunrise to sunset every day until the governor of Bali would agree to meet with us.
lyrics training. Have you heard about lyrics training? Lyrics training. It's a nice application to develop listening skills. Lyrics training as one word, .com, which is based on YouTube videos.
What were these two girls doing? We knew we weren't making the governor look his best by doing this food strike. We could have gone to jail.
No, I'm
Very sorry. It worked. 24 hours later, we were picked up in school and escorted to the office of the governor. And there he was. Waiting for us to being all supportive and thankful for our willingness to care for the beauty and the environment of Bali. He signed a promise to help the people of Bali say no to plastic bags.
Yeah.
And we are now friends, and on a regular basis, we remind him and
lyrics training, right?
he has made.
Okay, good.
And recently, he stated and
It is used for listening skills development, and it is based on different YouTube videos. It's based on songs.
So, at the International Airport of Bali, one of our supporters, are planning
It will
to
be
start
very
a plastic
difficult to
bag
compete
free
with the woman
policy
speaking, but I will be doing that, alright? So, the next point, fear of technology, right? We're not supposed to fear,
of the public.
because
Our
of fear
campaign,
of what
One
we are
Island
doing,
Voice, is
right?
all about this.
And the nice principle maybe, you may have heard about it, it's, we may have tried something, we may have failed, but we need to try again, fall again, and fail again, and fail better next time. All right?
So, why are we actually telling you about this?
Well,
Partly it is
I believe that when we deal with technology, it's one of the main principles, because every time we fail, every time we learn something from what we have experienced.
We can make things happen.
Okay.
Isabella and I were only
So,
10 and 12 years old.
what comes next?
We never had a business plan, nor a
Comes
fixed
next,
strategy.
first of all,
or
I'm
even
going to
agendas.
present you some
Just the
resources.
idea in front of us.
There is
and
a
group of
nice
friends working with
guy
us.
who is an
All we
expert
wanted
in
to do
using
was
technology in
plastic bags
LT,
from
and
wrapping
this,
and suffocating
this
our
guy's
personal
name
home.
is Nick Pitchin.
Kids have
And
a
he has
boundless
written a
energy
nice
and a
book which is
motivation
called
to
Digital
be the
Tools for
change the
Teachers.
world needs.
You can upload it,
So
you can
to all
download it,
kids,
sorry.
it's beautiful.
If it's not a trained
Challenging world.
edition, you can download it for free.
Make that
So it has a nice
We're not telling you it's going
choice
to be
of
easy.
exercises,
We're telling you
activities,
it's
and
going to be
tools
worth
to be
it.
used in the classroom.
Us kids may only be 25% of the
So
world's
here in
population,
Moscow
but we
International
are
Academy, we
100%
provide
of the
webinars for
future.
teachers
We
and
still
online
have a
courses
lot of
and
work to
face-to-face
do,
workshops.
but know that we will
right?
not stop
So
until
just
the first question
attend
asked
our
for
website
at the Bali airport
imeal.ru.
Welcome to Bali. Do you have any plastic bags to declare?
You will see it on the screen with the
Oh,
flash
thank you, thank you, thank you.
I hope it's all.
Wow.
Wow. Enjoy the silence, right? So, you can see the list of useful links and resources. First of all, first to refer to Nick Pitchers. He has a blog which he updates on a regular basis. And there's also a sort of blog on school platform. So I recommend you just signing in and reading his articles. Every day he updates the blog and adds some applications, which most of them are affordable or free of charge. Most of them are free of charge. All right. The next nice project is called the Digital Teacher by Cambridge English Assessment, right? And then the last two refer to the company, which is called the Consultants E. It's a consultancy company, and Gavin Dewdney and Nikki Hockley are the owners of the company, and they've written lots of books. So on that. Any questions? Alright, so these are my contacts, my contact details. So if you have more information, if you need more information about using technology, or some courses, online courses, how to update your own skills with technology, or even we provide 2 days training, usually at weekends. So face-to-face trainings, and we do it in the classroom, in the computer classroom. So don't hesitate to contact me. Right? I'm very sorry for this technical stuff, but I do believe that anyway you have taken something from what I was talking about. Right? So,
Thank you so much.